Let's take a look at a recap of the second half of Chapter 4. And this was most recent stuff, so it might be more familiar to you. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Okay, m represents the slope, and b represents the y-intercept. Everything I'm saying now should be very familiar to you. Okay. To graph an equation in slope-intercept form, the first thing you do is you plot the y-intercept, which is the b, and then starting at the b, you use the slope. So you start at the b, okay? Sometimes the y-intercept is called the beginning. That's where you start, okay? And then you rise and run and put a new point. For example, how do we graph this right here? It's already in slope-intercept form. The slope is -2/3, and the b value is 4. Okay, since it's negative, it's definitely going to be going downhill. Just going to write that so it reminds me how to draw the line. But the beginning number, the y-intercept on the y-axis is 4. So we're going to put that right there. We're going to go down 2/3. Okay, and then we can go ahead and use a ruler to graph this. And that is the downhill slope, or the downhill line. Okay, let's take a look at an example here. This might be a good question you see on a final exam. So how do you graph, or how do you pick the right answer when it's multiple choice? Okay, for example, y equals -3x plus 4. I know that the slope, the m is -3, and that the b is 4. Okay, so first find the correct y-intercept. I'm looking for a y-intercept of 4. This might be the answer. This is not the correct y-intercept, so that is not going to be the correct choice. Let's look at C. Could this be the correct graph? Maybe. Okay, that is the correct y-intercept. Eliminate any graphs that don't work. Next, determine the sign of the slope. Okay, our line, since it has a negative slope, should be going downhill. So I don't think this is the right line because this one's going uphill. Is this the right graph? It's going downhill. Let's check. Down 1, 2, 3 over 1. This is it. The correct answer is C. So sometimes taking a multiple choice test is a little different than graphing lines by yourself on a regular test. Okay, make sure you practice your homework so you know, get some experience with that. All right, on the next page here, we're going to do a little rearranging. And sometimes here, this is where it gets a little weird with getting it into slope-intercept form first. Okay, so we're going to move the 3 to the other side, and we're going to say 2x, and then the positive 3 becomes a -3. Okay, so now that it's in slope-intercept form, we can go ahead and graph. The slope is 2, or maybe I'll say 2 over 1, and the b value is -3. Okay, so looking at the graph, we've got -1, 2, 3. Here's the b value. And positive means a line going uphill. I'm just going to write that so I make sure I get the uphill line. Up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. All right, now that I have several points, we can graph the line. Is this looking good for an uphill line? Yes. Y-intercept is down there at -3. That's how you graph a line. The part that might be a little tricky, or where you need to spend some time, is the rearranging. Okay, getting it into slope-intercept form. This entire test was y equals mx plus b. Very important that you know that and you write that down. Okay, the y is not alone because it's being multiplied by 2. So what I'm going to do is divide all the terms by 2. So y equals 3 over 2x. It's okay if that doesn't divide because that is the slope. And then we have a minus sign. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay, so whatever sign they have, they're a minus or negative, that means the y-intercept is going to be -4. Okay, how do you know if the line's going uphill or downhill? The slope tells you that. So this is going to be an uphill line. All right, let's go ahead and graph that uphill line. The y-intercept is -4, so put your starting point way down there. And now it's time for slope. We're going to rise 3, 1, 2, 3, over 2. Rising 3, over 2. And then that is the uphill line. Okay, the final might be a little easier because all the graphs are going to be drawn and then you have to pick the correct one. All right, but knowing the slope and the y-intercept carefully will help. All right, and you have to be able to rearrange correctly. All right, number 3 is definitely not in slope-intercept form. Okay, the y is not alone. The question I would always ask in class is, does any term have to get moved to the other side? Okay, is the y term alone? No, this 5x, you need to go to the other side. So 3y is going to stay on the left. And he's positive, so he stays positive. Then you put the equal sign. This 5x was positive. When I switch sides, it becomes a -5x. And the 9 is positive, so he's going to stay +9. Okay, so you look in front of the term for the sign. Now the y is not alone yet because it's being multiplied by 3, so we have to divide all terms by 3, and then we have slope-intercept form. Y equals -5 over 3x plus 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay, now it's in slope-intercept form. So the slope is -5/3. And I'm going to write downhill just so I know the line is going to be going downhill. The y-intercept is +3. Why don't you go ahead and graph that line? Come on, everyone, put the starting point, go to the y-axis. Where is it going to start? Did everyone put a point at 1, 2, 3? Okay, now keep your pencil there because we got to do the slope. It's going downhill. Let's go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 3. 1, 2, 3. Does this look good for a downhill line? Absolutely. Draw your line with the arrows. Okay, we got one more here. Let's make it a good one. We have to rearrange and get it to slope-intercept form first. So is the y term alone? No, because this 2x is on the left side. The x term needs to get moved to the right side. Okay, so who is staying on the left? The y term. You have to look in front and you have to notice that that's a negative for y. Don't forget that negative sign there for y. Positive 2x goes to the other side and becomes -2x. 12 doesn't have any negative signs. He's a positive, so you write +12. You only switch the sign when you switch the sign. Good. Divide by -4. Divide by -4, -4. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. So we got 1/2 x, and a positive divided by a negative is -3. So the slope of this line is going to be 1/2, which means it's going to be an uphill line. And the y-intercept of this graph is going to be -3. All right, let's all graph this line. Come on, everyone, put your starting point. Okay, go to the y-axis. Where do you start when the b is -3? 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's the starting point. Now remember, we set uphill, so starting at that y-intercept, we're going to go up 1 and over 2. Up 1, over 2. If you keep going up 1, over 2. I know it's off the graph paper, but the x-intercept would be at 6. That's kind of fun. Okay, don't forget to draw your line. Please turn the page and practice slope-intercept and graphing lines on the next couple of pages. Good luck!